The first canto of Kalidasa's Raghuvamsham, Part 1. Poet Kalidasa is well known in Sanskrit literature. It is generally believed that he belonged to the ancient kingdom of Avanti and that he lived in its capital city of Ujjain, which is in today's Madhya Pradesh. The date of his birth is a subject of debate. It is generally considered to be somewhere between the 4th and 5th centuries CE. The Indian tradition regards Kalidasa as one of the 9 gems that adorned the court of King Vikramaditya of Ujjain. There is a very significant verse about Kalidasa in Indian tradition. It goes like this. Pura kavinam ganana prasange kanishtika dishtita Kalidasa adyapi tattulya kavera bhavat anamika sarthavati babhuva. This verse means that in ancient times there was a counting done of all the great poets. As we generally count starting from the little finger, Kalidasa was first counted from the little finger. But till now, there is no other poet to match him. So, the counting could not proceed. It is probably because of this that the finger next to the little finger, namely the ring finger, is meaningfully named as Anamika. Kalidasa has composed many works, and important among them are Raghuvamsham, Kumarasambhavam, Abhijnanashakuntalam, Meghadutam, Vikramorvashiyam and Malavikagnimitram. Raghuvamsham is a long classical poem of 19 cantos. It is one of his Mahakavyas. It contains a brilliant account of the illustrious kings of the Raghu Dynasty, namely Dilipa, Raghu, Aja, Dasharatha and Lord Rama. Canto 1 of the Raghuvamsham is one of the finest introductions to any Sanskrit Mahakavya. The canto contains 95 verses and lays the foundation for the birth of Raghu, after whom both the dynasty and the epic are named. In the first verse, Kalidasa invokes the divine. It is an auspicious invocation to Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati in the form of Ardhanarishvara. The invocation here is a masterpiece of poetic expression. It says, Vagartha vivasam prukto Vagartha pratipattaye Jagatah pitaro vande Parvati parameshwaram. As we know, the words and their meanings are connected to each other. The poet feels that the form of Parvati and Parameshwara in the form of Ardhanarishvara is like the unification of the words and their meanings. So, he says that to attain right knowledge an understanding of the words and their meanings, he worships the parents of the universe, Parvati and Parameshwara, who are perfectly united just like words and their meanings. Immediately after the invocation, Kalidasa displays a remarkable poetic humility. He considers the task before him as almost impossible. He says, "Where is the solar dynasty? And where is my limited intellect? In my delusion, I seek to cross an unfathomable ocean with a tiny boat. Kwasurya prabhavo vamshaha क्वचाल्प विषया मतिः तितीर्षुदुस्तरं मोहात् उडुपेनास्मि सागरम्." Again, he compares himself to a dwarf stretching out his arms to pluck a fruit hanging high on a tree. Look at the humility of this great poet. Mandah kavyasha prarthi gamishyam upahasyatam pramshulabhye phale lobat udbahuriva manah. Kalidasa acknowledges that many great poets have already described the Raghu Dynasty. He modestly states that he merely follows the path shown by them. Here again, he gives another simile. He compares the solar dynasty as hard gemstones. Great poets like sage Valmiki have gone through the history of the great kings of that dynasty and created great works. The works of these great sages are like the diamond tools that work on these hard gemstones. The history of these great kings is thus already available. The poet says that what he does is like passing a thread through the holes created on the gemstones. Thus, he compares his own poetic mind to the simple, soft thread passing through that pre-made path. Athava kritava aktvare vamshesmin purvasuribihi mano vajrasamutkirne sutrasyevasti me gatihi. These verses reveal an important feature of Sanskrit literary tradition, that great poets begin their works not with self-praise, but with humility and reverence for their predecessors. Kalidasa then provides an extraordinary description of the virtues common to the kings of the solar race. He describes the Raghu kings like Dilipa, Raghu, Aja, Dasharatha and Lord Rama as those who are pure from birth. Ajanma Suddhanam. They worked persistently until their actions bore fruit. Apalodaya Karmanam. They ruled the earth all the way to the oceans. Asamudra Kshitishanam. Their chariots could travel all the way up to heaven. Anakaratavatmanam. Sohamajanma Suddhanam. Aphalodaya Karmanam. Asamudra Kshitishanam. Anakaratavatmanam. They lit the propitiatory ritual fires as a duty. They were generous towards their supplicants and gratified all their appeals. They punished the offenders according to their offense, but unaggressively. They were ever vigilant in governance. Yatha vidhihuda agninam, yatha kama chitarthinam, yatha paratha dandanam, yatha kala prabodhinam. The kings of the Raghu Dynasty accumulated wealth only for charity. They spoke sparingly and only truthfully. They sought victory solely for acquiring fame and protecting righteousness. They married for the sake of continuing the lineage and serving society. Tyagaya sambhruta arthanam, satyaya mitabhashinam, yashase vijigishunam, prajayai grihamedhinam. They studied and acquired knowledge in their childhood and enjoyed worldly pleasures in their youth. In their old age, they led their life with detachment like that of a sage and finally abandoned their bodies through yoga at the end. Shaisave abhyasta vidyanam, yauvane vishayaishinam, vardhake munivrittinam, yogena ante tanutyajam. The Raghu kings thus represent Kalidasa's ideal conception of kingship. They are rulers who combine power with self-restraint, prosperity with generosity, and worldly responsibilities with spiritual wisdom. Kalidasa says that he has an excellent ear for the merits of those kings and he is motivated by those very merits. So, despite his limited poetic abilities, he is compelled to narrate the lives of these noble kings. He then asks the wise critics to evaluate his work, comparing this process to testing gold's purity in fire. Again, this verse reflects the author's humility and his dedication to having his poetry judged by experts. Raghunam manvayam vakshye tanuak vibhavopi san tadgunai karnamagatye chapalaya prachoditah tam santashrotum arhanti sadasad vyaktihe tavah himnas samlakshate hyagno vishuddhi shamikapiva. These are the e-books prepared and published by me. These are available with Google Play Books. These are the audiobooks prepared and published by me. These are available with Google Play Books. Please visit my website at ramanitya.com. You may also be able to purchase some of my books directly in this site. Vagartha viva samprukto Vagartha pratipattaye Jagatah pitarau vande Parvati parameshwarau Kva surya prabhavo vamshah Kva chalpa vishayamati Titiršu dustaram mohat Udupenasmi sagaram Mandah kaviyasha prarthi Gamishyam yapahasyata Pramshulabhe phale lobhat Udbahuriva vamanah Athava kritavakttvare Vamshesmin purvasuribihi Manau vajrasamutkirne Sutrastyevasti me gatihi Sohamajanma suddhanam Aphalodaya karmanam Asamudrakshitisanam Anakarathavatmanam Yatha vidihutagninam Yatha kamarchitarthinam Yatha parathadandanam Yatha kalaprabodhinam Tyagaya sambhritaarthanam Satyaya mitabhashinam Yashase vijigishunam Prajayai grihamedhinam Shaisave abhyasta vidyanam Yauvane vishayaishinam Vardhake munivrittinam Yojena ante tanutyajam Raghunam anvayam vakshem Tanuvak vibhavopi san Tadgunai karnamagatya Chapalaja prachoditah Tam santashrotumarhanti Sadasad raktihe tabah Himnas samlakshate hyagnau Vishuddhishyamika piva